Welcome to the video, guys. Today we're going to be speaking about the ancient world and its beauty standards. So we're going to go through each major civilization. Just a preface or a disclaimer, some of these civilizations were literally 3,000 to 4,000 up to 6,000, potentially even 14,000 years old. Did the beauty standards change within that time period? I'm certain of it. It's like saying, well, let's talk about the beauty standards of the modern world and then talk about from 1,000 years ago and then today. You see what I'm getting at? So when the civilization was rocking and it was at its best, what were the beauty standards then and there? Get some popcorn and be prepared to feel really good about yourself. Because whenever I look at ancient beauty standards, I feel really good about myself because I'm like, see, it's not me, it's everyone's cultural understandings. Also, if you could subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, literally stalk me. That would be great because that means that I will be able to buy a better camera and potentially put my children through university. What a dream. I probably won't be able to buy a house though. That's sort of out of the range, but at least I can pay rent. There's a few things, right? There's obviously body shape and size, what was considered beauty. There was gender that definitely played a role, especially when we're talking about ancient Rome and Greece. There was then skincare routines, hair routines, bathing schedules, and cosmetics. Let's start with Egypt. So back in Egypt, the ideal body type for sort of the pinnacle of the golden age of the Egyptian society was to be slim and tall and with a high waist and narrow hips. Also, remember, Egypt is in Africa, so darker bronzed skin was the beauty standard back then. However, it was not... the fashion was to have bright skin, if that makes sense. So I kind of think in my head, when I don't moisturize, my skin is dull. But when I moisturize, it's bright. It's a brighter brown. I think that's that's sort of the way I would articulate it. So women were also known for wearing long black braided wigs. That was very much the fashion. Pretty much everybody wore wigs. Body hair in ancient Egypt was ghastly, absolutely ghastly. So pubic hair, arm hair, head hair even, like I said, they got rid of even their hair on their head and wore wigs rather than having normal hair. But powerful men were depicted as having strong and well-defined muscles. So that was very important in male beauty standard. Beards, facial hair, mustaches, all were seen as extremely unclean. They did not jibe with facial hair. So hygiene, body hygiene and bathing. It was very important to be well washed and hygienic in ancient Egypt. Most people likely washed in the Nile. However, there is evidence that there were bathhouses. They've been excavated in the city of Tebtunis. The oldest of the bathhouses being 3rd century BCE. So there's even showers that have been ancient versions of showers that have been sort of discovered, and ways to heat the water so that you could have a warm bath. Something really cool about ancient Egypt is we have the medical papyrus. We have the medical papyrus from ancient Egypt, which tells us a lot about different things they did for medical issues. So soap was made out of a paste made of clay and ash and mixed with olive oil and sometimes fragrant oils. Now this was used not just to cleanse, but to also nourish the skin with clay and oil. It also would sometimes be mixed with salt and various vegetable oils and used to treat skin conditions like rashes or like acne, that sort of thing. Now, just like today, ancient Egypt loved clear skin. They used a lot of milk bathing. Cleopatra was said to bathe herself in sour donkey's milk. And the lactic acid could exfoliate skin. So, you know. Now, last but not least, makeup. The Egyptians loved a good eye, a good strong eye. They used something called kohl. It was made out of various leads and some salts. Now, lead is poisonous to us as human beings. However, eye infections was a very common ailment in ancient Egypt, and the kohl around the eyes actually fought off the bacteria that caused these infections. Okay, now let's talk about ancient Greece. Now, beauty and physical appearance was extremely important in ancient Greece, and it did vary depending on where you were from and at what time you... So the first thing is kind of looking at the ideology around beauty. So the Greeks believed that physical beauty represented that you were a morally good person, and that if you were physically unattractive, it would represent that you were not. So the beauty standard for women were, they definitely liked a more plump woman than what our beauty standards are today. Big in everywhere, pretty much. Big around the belly, a bit of a nipped waist was very attractive, but yeah, I would say like probably what we would consider plus size, which, you know, don't personally agree with that rating system, but anyway, would be probably the ideal body shape back in the Greek times. The lower class or slaves in a lot of Greece, because a lot of the polis states thrived on slavery, typically were much more tan and deeper colored skin because they were working in the sun, and Greece is hot in the summer. And then the higher class women would stay inside and avoid the sun at all costs. Good unibrow, and they would often like put makeup on to appear that they had a unibrow. This was because it was seen as symmetrical, so it was therefore beautiful. Now, updos were definitely a thing back in ancient Greece. They conditioned their hair and their skin with olive oil. They would again use milk quite a bit in their skincare routine. So they would wash their faces and use goat's milk and raspberry like face mask, which yeah, like is quite good for the skin. And I think it's like really interesting, even today in like skincare products, we still see like raspberry seed oil and stuff being used, and like goat's milk moisturizers and things like that. So they did that back then as well. Now, we spend a lot of time talking about female beauty. However, a lot of the time, the males of ancient Greece were not looking at the females. Homosexual relationships were absolutely commonplace and very much ingrained into the society of ancient Greece. A lot of ancient Greek civilizations or polis practiced pederasty, which was when an older man took a younger man or boy as a lover. Pre-adult male body was a thing of beauty. I think that's all I'm gonna say on that, because it's just, it's difficult to talk about. Strong and everything was very favored. Something that the Spartan women did to be less intimidating to their husbands when they were married was shave off all their hair and dress like a boy, because the Spartan men would have already had sexual relations with males, and so the females then, to make it more comfortable for them, dressed and appeared more like a boy. On now to ancient China. Another super interesting ancient civilization that has years and years and years of history. Things obviously changed again as time went on. They're talking about like they wanted it to be small and little, but with big eyes. Big eyes were a big deal. The royal classes painted their eyes and eyebrows with like blues and greens, like eyeshadow, or like, you know, that sort of thing. Slim waist, small feet. In ancient China, well, not even ancient, it wasn't even that, it's not ancient at all, but feet binding was practiced, which literally would cripple young girls' feet so that they were smaller. And pale skin was considered ideal. So again, like the lower class would work outside, they would get a tan, and the pale skin people were seen as the higher class because they went outside. This is actually still a thing in Chinese beauty standards today. They often will make their skin look and appear lighter. But the number one thing that was considered like the sexiest thing on a woman was her lips. So red lips were considered very sexy. Now, Roman beauty standards were very interesting. Cosmetics was a preoccupation of women, not men. Men did not wear cosmetics. And any man that would spend too much time on his appearance would be ridiculed as being vain, you know. Like Emperor Otho was an example of this. He was ridiculed as he spent far too much time on his appearance. He shaved every day, did like a face mask every day. Regarded heavy makeup on a woman as something that a prostitute would do. So women that worked in sex work would wear heavy makeup, or unfaithful wives, whatever the hell that means, trying to like appeal to a lover. I don't know. It's, to me, it sounds like, you know, how men are like, oh, girls are pretty without makeup, but they'll look at an image of a woman who's probably spent an hour on her makeup and be like, yeah, see, she looks so natural. I feel like that's what was happening here, but in ancient Rome version. Perfumes, again, like ancient Egypt, were widely used in Rome. They were from everything from adding a twist to the taste of a wine to scents back in ancient Rome would have been cinnamon, dates, quince, basil, wormwood, and flowers, everything from like rose to irises to whatever sort of grew in the area. So not only do we have like these perfumes from literature, but we also have evidence of like perfume bottles and different bronze implements like ear scoops. Ugh, that's such a gross term. Nail cleaners, tweezers, face creams were used. Now we have the ingredient list of a face cream: eggs, barley, gum, narcissus bulbs, honey, ground vetch, wheat flour, and powdered antlers. Another concoction which was aimed at skin whitening used white lead, lovely love a bit of white lead, that had been dissolved in vinegar. Slightly stepping out of the ancient category, but I thought it's interesting, so I'm now Christianity was instituted as the state religion at this point, and so Christian preachers were then known to kind of admonish or speak about vanity being a sin, and so cosmetics kind of changed. They weren't not used, but the flashiness of it kind of just shifted a little bit. I would love to try and reconstruct some of the perfumes from the past. I think it would be so interesting to smell the kind of perfumes that they were smelling. So quick moment for my sponsor today, me. No, but actually, I have a history class Patreon that I would love you to be a part of. We are about to start a big class on ancient Egypt. We do a class once every 2 weeks. It is live, face to face, so we get to interact. You get a lot of content from various curriculums from universities. So pretty much all you have to do is go down to the comments of this video, click on the link for the Patreon, and then you will come to a page, and if you scroll down there's a little video there. I explain absolutely everything that you can get, and even the lower tiers, like $8 a month I think it comes to in American dollars, literally pays my bills. And I appreciate it so much, and I love the community that we're building. If you're not in a place where you can financially join the history class, no worries at all. You can obviously subscribe here, but I'm very active over on TikTok. I love TikToking. At the moment we're talking about Mesopotamia. We're about to talk about Mesopotamia. And then you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm very active, especially on stories. I post, and that's just like my day-to-day life. I do a lot of shit posting on there, and I'm about to start doing history memes because I think I'm hilarious. So yeah, like there's fun for all on all the platforms. So I would love it if you could follow me there. Thanks for listening to my ad about myself.